Well, because of the latest flooding taking place in the Hyderabad and interior Sindh area, we do know that about 22 people have been killed. There's been a few cases of where the roof has collapsed. So at the moment, that's how many people you have that have been have died as a result of these floods. You've still, from the previous floods, got over about over 100,000 people. Over 1 million people who have been affected, and then a few, basically 30,000 have been affected by these latest rains. But the situation is so fluid on the ground, since the rain isn't really stopping, that the numbers, there are no real accurate numbers as to how many people are affected, because this situation is still developing on the ground.
Now, what is the latest? How many areas are underwater at the moment, and what other sort of damage has been reported from the affected areas?
Well, you've got places like, as you mentioned, Benazirabad, but Hyderabad, Badin, as well as Mirpur Khas has been hit quite hard by these floods. Now, a few of these places were already submerged in water, so a lot of the people were already away from their homes, which were already flooded from before. Now, of course, the kind of damage you see is that people's homes and their crops are mostly damaged. This was a bumper crop year, and a lot of these people have lost what was to be one of a record-breaking profits for agriculture this year. So there's been devastating losses to the agriculture in those areas, and as a result, they have devised some plans to try and get some of these farmers interest-free loans. But the last that we heard, a lot of people aren't still receiving, as you mentioned, even tents or just basic facilities, whereas there is some distribution going on, but it doesn't necessarily reach all the victims.
Now, what can you tell us, as you just mentioned that there are some tents being given out and some food aid, how many affected people are actually receiving basic necessities, and how many would you estimate have actually been left out of any kind of help?
Well, if you have about 96 camps that have been established recently, you would assume that the people in these camps would be receiving. Each camp generally holds, depending on the size, no more than usually a few thousand people at the very top range of this. So you would expect that they would be getting the food aid. When I was in Badin, I saw that a lot of these camps are in fact empty. Nobody's supervising them. But of course, there are other camps where people are getting their food. So you can't really have an exact number of how many people are getting aid. You've got private volunteers, private organizations, which are basically giving aid to victims who set up on the side of the road because they feel they have a better chance of intercepting aid truck, and people will just come and distribute to them when they see them on the side of the road. So it's very hard to track exactly how many people are getting the aid and how many people the aid isn't reaching.
And how many, what organizations would you say are very active? Is it the Provincial Disaster Management Authority, the Army, or private organizations, would you say, that you have personally seen distributing and aiding affectees?
Well, as far as the Army is concerned and the Navy, they're mostly involved in rescue operations, and they're given aid to sometimes distribute to people who they rescue. They're not really in the formal aid distributing business, if you want to call it that. Then aside from that, you've got a lot of different NGOs. You've also got people who own certain, for instance, in Badin, there was a lot of sugar mill owners who came together to house people on their land and to help distribute aid through them. Then you've got basically everyone has to go through the DCO to the district level, and through the district level is then going to distribute goods among different NGOs that are working in the area.
Right.
You've got the World Food Program, which is one of them, and then through that, they're then trickle down to the people.
Right. Thank you so much for that update, Shahryar, our correspondent Shahryar Mirza, updating us on the situation in Sindh. Most areas still submerged underwater, crops, acres of land of agriculture and ruined by these latest floods. Now,